Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
My screen sharing is disabled. Hello. Sir, there is some problem. I'm unable to share my screen.
Can you please try now?
Just give a minute. I'll once again try. Yeah. Now it is okay, sir. Good evening, all of you students. In the last session, we have stopped our discussion about the topic precedence rule, right? Precedence rule. For performing signal operations on the independent variable of a signal. There are two types of operations we can perform on the independent variable of the signal. Those are shift and scale. So precedence rule says that shifting first, next only scaling. This is the order to perform these two operations on a given signal independent variable. For that, I have given some example. Now I am giving you one same signal, same kind of signal. Just for recalling the concept once again, 0 to 4, a rectangular pulse signal with amplitude 1. If it is the x of t, all of you please try to plot the signals first. X of 2t minus 6. Here x of 2t minus 6, it is having two kind of operations, shifting and scaling on independent variable. So the discussion is which one should be performed first. According to business rule, shifting is first, I said. Fine. Anyway, we should be familiar about all kind of operations and all kind of notations we have. For example, if I perform shifting first and then scaling, here what is the equation I will get? Whereas if I perform scaling first and then shifting, what is the equation I should write for the same signal? So here x of 2t minus 6. So first shifting we are doing. So that we need to perform x of t minus 6 and then scaling. So first t minus 6 means it is right shifting operation. So signal after shifting by 6 units, we will get 0 starts at 6, 4 starts at 10. This is the signal after shifting. So equation is x of t minus 6. Now we are scaling this shifted version. Scaling means I told you every t replace with here x of 2t minus 6. We want to plot 2t now. Scaling with 2. That means t should be divided with 2. So that divided by 2. Yeah. To get scaled version of this signal. So who will get this signal? 3 to 5. So this is what the signal after scaling the shifted version. In case I have not written the expression here, just think of it. Second case I am showing you here. If I scale first, then I will plot first x of 2t. Then the signal will be like this. This is x of t given. Here 2t, t is multiplied by 2. So for scaling version, we need to divide with 2. So of course this is 0, this is 2. So the signal after scaling, we will get from 0 to 2. Now we are shifting the signal. Shifting how much? Minus 6 is the shifting constant. So we need to add plus 6 here. So that the signal will be here. It is starting point 6, ending point 8. 6 to 8 we are getting the signal after shifting. So what we have done in these two cases, if we compare, shifting first, scaling next. First case, scaling first, shifting next, second case. In both cases, we are not getting the same signals. Different signals we are getting. That is why there is a need to follow a certain rule, that is precedence rule. It says that shifting first, scaling next. So first one is the preferred order for us. So this is the correct one for this signal x of 2t minus 6. Then what is the equation for this signal, which is scaled first and then shifted? So this is the equation x of 2t minus 6 in the first case. That's what we want to plot actually. In case, if I want to scale first and shifting next, then what should be the name of this signal? So for that, I will give one just to format to follow. It's very easy for us in future. I think all of you noted. Please all of you note this just for analysis purpose, very helpful for us. So now I will tell you how to give the expressions for such kind of operations. I'm going to the next phase. So here, x of t signal one thing is shifting, or scaling. If it is shifted by plus or minus t naught, what we will write? X of t plus or minus t naught we will write. Whereas if it is scaled by constant k, we will write x of kt. And if I want to scale the shifted version by constant k, what should I write? Whereas if I want to shift the scaled version by plus or minus t naught, what should I write? It is simply x of kt plus or minus t naught here. It is x of k into t plus or minus t naught. This is what the format we need to follow in future. Very, very important for us. I have given x of 2t minus 6 signal. It is nothing but x of 2 into t minus 3. Observe the expression here, scaling constant 2, shifting constant minus 3. If you write in this form, whereas direct form x of 2t minus 6, it is the first form we require. So since this expression is in this form, we followed shifting first, scaling next. If you get some expression in this form, just 3 into t minus 4, this kind of expression, you can convert into required form like this, 3t minus 12, and you can follow for regular notation. This is what we have to do. Enough. It avoids all confusion in future class. So this is the precedence rule for performing the shifting and scaling operations on a signal. Now let's do some exercise problems. I will give one by one exercise problems here. First, let us solve the problem. Plot the signal x of t which is given by the expression triangular of t plus rectangular of t. Try to plot this signal. Here I will plot the signal. You just try it and verify on this. So triangular signal, rectangular signal, both are introduced in the previous session. I will plot here. So it's a triangular signal. It is from -1 to +1. With the amplitude 1 at origin. This is the triangular signal we have. Whereas rectangular signal, here rectangular of t by tau. Tau is the width of the rectangular pulse. So it is given here 1. That means it is symmetric about the y-axis. So -half to +half. Your width 1. So amplitude is 1. We have to add these two signals. Try to perform the addition operation on these two signals. Here, the instants -1, -1/2, 0, +1/2, 1. What is the value at each instant in the result graph? The waveform in the result should be like this. Here first -1 to -1/2, there is only one signal. Here signal is 0, here signal is there. So here triangular signal slope is 1. Slope 1 means on x-axis, if it is increased by 1, on y-axis, it is again increased by same 1. That means the amplitude is 1 here. Like that here, at -half, this amplitude should be again half. Similarly, at +half, amplitude should be half. So -1 to -1/2, only one signal, no confusion. Let us plot signal up to 1/2. It is. After this, rectangular signal coming. At the instant -half, when t is equal to -half, here this is half and one transition of signal is there. This should be added. How much height of the transition means 1. So from 0.5 to transition 1 should be added here. And after that, it is half to 1 increasing. Just every amplitude here added with 1. That means signal simply clamping like this. That is what left hand side. Since both waveforms are symmetric, so that right hand side will get the same graph. So here 0.5. So this amplitude must be 1.5. And at origin, this is having one amplitude. This is also one amplitude. So amplitude at origin is 2. So symmetric waveform, both the left hand side, right hand side. Like that, we have to add these two signals. Anyway, we have to observe one point in the problem. That is, whenever in addition transition is there, how to add the signals. That is what the point we have to observe it from this exercise. That's enough. Now, second exercise problem. Try to plot 1 plus signum of 4 minus t. Just I am giving you the problem here. Going to the next page. Try to plot the signal x of t is equal to 1 plus signum of 4 minus t and express in terms of u of t. Express the signal in terms of u of t and plot the signal waveform first. So this is what the signal given x of t is equal to 1 plus signum of 4 minus t. So signum function we know. To plot the signum function here, it is 1 right hand side minus 1 left hand side. This is the signum function. And u of t we know. Unit step function is 1 right hand side, 0 left hand side. Fine. Now the signum function, first we have to perform operation on the independent variable. This is the expression 4 minus t given. That means we need to plot first signum of minus 1 into t plus 4. So here scaling constant is minus 1, shifting constant is plus 4. Whenever plus 4 is there, this is left shift operation. Whenever scaling constant is minus 1, this operation is nothing but reflection. Because we know that u of t reflected signal is u of minus t. So t is here multiplied with minus 1. So to get the reflection, t is multiplied with minus 1. So this scaling operation is nothing but reflection. So signum function, take it first, and then first operation, which one should be performed is here. According to the precedence rule, here shifting is there and scaling both are there. So perform first shifting and then scaling. So signum function, consider it, and left shift by 4 units first. Let us plot signum function left shifted by 4 units. This is the signum function. It is shifting left side by 4 units. Then this is the graph for that. Amplitudes does not change. This is minus 4. This is signum of t plus 4. And we need to perform the scaling operation now. So k is minus 1 is reflection, we say. So that reflection, so mirror image with respect to the y-axis, will get this signal reflected after scaling with minus 1. So now minus 4, it becomes plus 4 here. Amplitude, this is 1, this is minus 1. This is the signal, signum of minus t plus 4 or signum of 4 minus t. Now we have to add the DC function 1 here. So for this signal, add DC function or DC signal 1. So that you will get the x of t. So here minus infinity to 4, the signal amplitude is 1 plus 1. And here we are adding second signal. This also having same amplitude +1. So minus infinity to +4. 1 + 1, 2 amplitude. Up to 4. 4 onwards, if you observe, this signal having -1 amplitude and this signal having +1 amplitude. So that 4 onwards, these two cancels. So signal result will be 0. So this is the signal x of t. It is 4 this instant. Now this x of t waveform, if it is like this, express the signal in terms of u of t, is it? So if this is u of t, and what is the relation between u of t and this graph? This is u of t. So after performing what operations on u of t, you will get x of t now. So the signal, you see, if it is first shifted left side by 4 units, you'll get this one. And then here shift, left shift. And then if you reflect the signal, you will get like this. So this is what the signal we need. Amplitude 2 is there here. So that you can take 2 u of t. So that 2 u of t signal left shift by 4 units and then reflect it. And what is the expression we will get? 2 u of t. After left shifting, we will get 2 u of t plus 4. And after scaling or reflection, you get 2 u of minus t plus 4 or 2 u of 4 minus t. This is what the equation that is equal to x of t. So we have performed different operations on signals like this. Please note it. You can do the next exercise problem. I'll go to the next page. Hope all of you verified the answer here. Now try to plot x of t u of t plus 1 by 2 multiplied by r of 1 by 2 minus t. Step function, ramp function, shifting, scaling, and then multiplication of two signals. Try to perform these operations. I will plot the signal just to verify the answer. First, u of t left shifted by half. This is a signal u of t plus 1 by 2. We need to plot r of minus 1 into t plus half. This is scaling with the -1. So nothing but reflection. Here shifting constant plus half means left shift operation. So first left shift the signal and then reflect it. So we know that ramp function r of t. This is the equation graph. First left shift by 1/2. That means the graph will get like this after shifting. And then reflection. This signal shifted version after reflecting nothing but mirror image with respect to y-axis with the mirror, so that we'll get like this the graph starting here plus 1/2. So this is the equation r of 1/2 minus 2. So let us consider this graph now. So 1/2 starting leftwards signal. So r of 1/2 minus 2. We have to multiply this term. Here at minus 1/2, what is the amplitude of this signal? Once again, ramp signal means slope is 1. Slope 1 meaning is on x-axis how much change, on y-axis is same change. So here on x-axis change is 1. So on y-axis also change should be 1. So that the amplitude should be 1 here. Fine. Now let us multiply these two signals. Here 0 up to minus 1/2, minus infinity to minus 1/2, the signal 0. 0 multiplied by anything 0. So up to minus 1/2, the product is 0. And then at minus 1/2, one signal amplitude 1, second signal amplitude also 1. 1 multiplied by 1, 1 only. So the signal amplitude 1 at minus 1/2, and then this is the waveform multiplied by 1. 1 into x. So you multiply with 1, the same signal you will get here. So this will be as it is. Sorry. Ramp signal. Try to draw perfect straight line here, please. So we'll get the result from minus 1/2 to plus 1/2 like this. So this is the plot of given signal x of t. Try to verify your answer and then take one more problem. I have given impulse signal properties, 6 different properties for you. Try to recall those 6 properties. Based on those properties, I'll give some problems here. Very important in the gate examination point of view. First signal, try to plot x of t is given by 2 del of 2t plus 6 into del of 3 into t minus 2. This is the expression given to us to plot the wave. Now using the impulse signal properties, we can simplify the given expression first. Here del of at we can write it as 1 by mod A del of t. So from that property, we can write del of 3 into t minus 2 as 1 by 3 del of t minus 2. And del of 2t is there in the first term. We can write it as 1 by 2 del of t. So given x of t first is expressed as 2 into 1 by 2 del of t plus 6 into 1 by 3 del of t minus 2. So that 2 gets cancelled. 3 2 times. So given signal x of t is del of t plus 2 into del of t minus 2. Let us plot the signal. We are having simply two impulse functions. First function is at origin, unit impulse function. So amplitude 1. Second one, del of t minus 2. Minus means right shifting operation. And amplitude of this signal is given as 2. This is what the signal x of t. So we are using the scaling property of the impulse function here. And in a similar way, by using the same impulse signal properties, take down one more problem. I'm going to the next base. Evaluate the expression by using impulse properties. Evaluate the expression given like this, minus 1 to 8 integral of del of t plus 3 minus 2 del of 4t dt. This is what the expression given to us to evaluate. What is the answer? Use the impulse signal properties here. Here we are having scaling property and shifting property of the impulse function. I'll rewrite the statement here. Minus into plus infinity x of t minus t naught or x of t del of t minus t naught dt. If it is, the answer is x of t naught. This is what the shifting property of the impulse function we have. First, simplify this expression. Minus 1 to 8 del of t plus 3 minus 2. This is 1 by 4 del of t dt. So 2 by 2. If you observe this expression, instead of applying shifting property, just observe once. Small tricky question. Where is this impulse function del of t plus 3 means? At minus 3, we are having the impulse function with the amplitude 1. and this is del of t. Amplitude is 1 by 2, of course, minus here finally minus 1 by 2. Del of t means at origin minus 1 by 2. So if we observe, the integration he has given from minus 1 to 8. Observe the integration limits minus 1 to plus 8. If he has given, this expression is outside of the required integration limit. So we don't need to cover this signal while you are evaluating the integral with the limit minus 1 to 8. So in this given limit of integration, we have only one signal. Then if you have an impulse signal, the amplitude is nothing but the strength of that signal or area of that signal. Integration of a given signal is nothing but area of this. Here for the impulse signal, area is nothing but its amplitude. So only one signal under integration, directly we can answer minus 1 by 2. So once in get a previous question, while Laplace transform is considering, this kind of small trick he has played in the previous questions. That's why in the signal operations itself, this kind of question I have picked up once. Anyway, you can use shifting property also to simplify this kind of expressions. Now, one more problem, similar kind of impulse properties. Evaluate this integral now. Minus infinity to plus infinity, del of 3t minus 5 sine square t minus 4 dt equal to what? Use impulse properties. Shifting property can use here. X of t del of t minus t naught under integration is equal to x of t naught. So here, first we need to get the t naught value. So that he has given del of 3t minus 5. So first we need to write it as scaling property, recall it. 1 by mod 3 del of t minus 5 by 3 it is. Scaling property second form I have given in the first class. So we can rewrite this expression like this, so that this will become t naught now. Del of t minus t naught, if we compare here, this t naught is 5 by 3, we got it. And sine square t minus 4, it is the given signal x of t. This x of t signal we have sine square t minus 4, and this integration equal to x of t naught means this x of t with t naught value, t is equal to t naught, that is nothing but 5 by 3. Right. So let us simplify this one. Integration, this is first we are writing like 1 by 3 del of t minus 5 by 3 and sine square t minus 4 dt. Limits are minus infinity plus infinity this time, and we are comparing with the shifting property standard form, so that here 1 by 3 this one sine square t minus 4, this is the t naught value 5 by 3, so that 1 by 3 sine square t minus 4 signal with the t replacing from 5 by 3, so that it is 1 by 3 sine square 5 by 3 minus 4. We can simplify this one. 1 by 3 sine square 5 minus 12 by 3. So it is 7 by 3. This is the answer. 1 by 3 sine square 7 by 3. Suppose here minus is there, minus here sine square function. Sine is odd function, but square is there. So that we get plus 1 only here. So this is what the answer you can verify. Next, I think I have given some assignment problems for you. So from that, first I will give you one simple problem and then I will solve your second assignment problem what I have given yesterday. I mean previous class. First you plot u of sin t and then you can plot the problem I have given for you is u of 1 minus mod t signum of t. So try to plot the signal. Then plot the signal you can verify. A moment. Let us see first how to plot u of sin t. Simply, this is merging of signals. U of t sin t both signals are merged here. So this kind of signals how to plot means consider u of t definition, basic definition, that is 1 if t greater than or equal to 0, 0 t less than 0. What he has given means u of sin t. That means this t is replaced with sin t. Let us replace every t with sin t in this expression. Then we get u of sin t is equal to 1 for sin t greater than or equal to 0, whereas it is equal to 0, whereas sin t less than 0. So this is what the definition for the given signal x of t. So how to plot x of t means take x of t value 1 whenever sin t is greater than or equal to 0. Take it is 0 when sin t is less than 0. So first we need sin t graph. Sine signal passes through origin. Something like this. So 1 to minus 1. This is sin pi is 0, 2 pi 0, sin n pi 0 we know. And it is having maximum value at pi by 2. Fine. Now we need to plot x of t from sin t graph. Now 0 to pi, this is having positive amplitude. So whenever sin t is positive, take x of t signal amplitude plus 1. So pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, like this. And this side minus pi, minus 2 pi minus 3 pi. Here positive means take our required x of t signal amplitude as 1. And whenever sin t is less than 0, when sin t negative means take x of t signal amplitude 0. Again, 2 pi to 3 pi, it is positive. So x of t amplitude plus 1. Next, here also minus pi to minus 2 pi. This is plus 1 amplitude. So on. The clock pulse signal we will get like this. Like that, when my merging of signals occurs, we can plot the signals like this. So first signal I went like this, and you try to plot the second signal. What it is? X of t equal to u of 1 minus mod t multiplied by signum of t. So here again, consider the basic definition of unit step function, that is plus 1 when t greater than or equal to 0, it is 0 when t less than 0. Here in the t place, he has given expression 1 minus mod t. So let us replace t with 1 minus mod t here. Means we will get u of 1 minus mod t is equal to 1 when 1 minus mod t greater than or equal to 0. It is 0 when 1 minus mod t is less than 0. Fine. So first of all, we have to evaluate this expression. What is the limit of t for 1 minus mod t greater than or equal to 0? He said that 1 minus mod t if it is greater than 0. So what are the t limits here? So take minus 1 both sides. You get plus 1 minus 1 cancels. Minus mod t greater than or equal to minus 1. And multiply with minus 1. So that mod t here greater than, after multiplying with minus n, will be less than or equal to plus 1. And mod t I have given that it is equal to plus t, right hand side. That means t is positive. Similarly, in the left hand side, mod t value minus t. That means if you take right hand side, this is t less than or equal to 1. If you take left hand side, it is minus t less than or equal to plus 1. Minus t less than or equal to plus 1 means if you multiply with minus both sides, t should be greater than or equal to minus 1. So combinedly, this combinedly gives the limit minus 1 less than or equal to t less than or equal to plus 1. This is what the limit of t, which gives the meaning mod t less than or equal to 1. So first expression, we got the limits minus 1 to plus 1. The given signal u of 1 minus t is 1. So first we are plotting u of 1 minus t, and then we can multiply with signum function. So u of 1 minus t, if you plot, the plot is like this. This expression minus 1 to plus 1, amplitude is 1. Minus 1 to plus 1, the amplitude is 1. So a rectangular function we got for u of 1 minus mod t. This is amplitude 1. Now this signal is 0 For 1 minus mod t less than 0. For greater than or equal to 0, this one means 1 minus mod t less than 0 gives the complement of this or inversion of that one. It remaining all is 0. So this function should be multiplied with signum of t to get x of t. So let us multiply this rectangular function with the signum function to get x of t. I'll go to another page. So u of 1 minus mod t, we got a rectangular function. Which is from -1 to +1, like this with amplitude 1 here. And it is multiplying with standard signum function, which is +1 right hand side, -1 left hand side. We have to multiply this one to get x of t. So let us multiply these two signals. This is +1 and till -1 it is 0. So in the product it is 0 up to -1. From -1 to 0, this is +1. This is -1. 1 into -1, -1. Next, 0 to 1, this signal is amplitude +1. This signal amplitude also +1. So 1 into 1, 1. So the amplitude is +1, right hand side up to 1. This is the signal x of t, which is given by expression u of 1 minus mod t multiplied by signum function. Merging of signals is very important. Nowadays, they are giving the process based on the merging of the signals. They are applying the Fourier transform of so and so signal like that. So, there to understand properly, we need to work a lot in signal operations itself. Let us take one more question. RAM functions, I have given one assignment problem. Just I will explain here. Just verify your answer. Hope all of you noted this one. Right. I have given a problem to plot x of t in terms of RAM functions like this. I'll rewrite here expression. What I have given is x of t is equal to r of t plus 2 minus r of t plus 1 minus r of t minus 1 plus r of t minus 2. So to add these four signals, RAM functions, all are RAM functions. Let us plot individual signals vertically for performing addition operation. So first signal r of t plus 2. So r of t shifted left side by 2 units. We're starting at -2. This is r of t plus 2. Second signal is given with a minus sign. That means inversion. R of t plus 1, which should start at -1. It is left inverted signal. So downwards, the graph. Something like this. And third signal, it is also inverted signal. That is R of t minus 1. That means it starts at +1 and inverted this also. And fourth one, R of t minus 2. So it starts at +2. Like this. If you observe, the slope of ramp function is +1. That means here the signal slope, first signal slope +1, second signal slope, it is inverted. That means your slope is -1. Third signal also slope -1. Fourth signal also, now it is slope +1. So two positive slopes, two negative slopes we have. Anyway, if you observe here, difference between these two signals. This is having M1 slope, this is having M2 slope, means M2 is greater than M1. If you add two ramp signals, what we will get? Just observe. From 0 to 1, 2 is also 1, is also 2. This is 1, 2. This is 1, this is 2. We add these two signals, what we will get? At each and every instant, this is 1 plus 1, 2. This is 2. 2 plus 2, 4. 4. So what will be the slope of this one? This slope will be +2. And what is the slope of ramp function? We know +1. So whenever two ramp signals are added, what should we observe means their slopes will be added. In the similar way here, you can add the slopes first. You observe, to perform addition operation of these ramp signals, to add the slopes, you'll get the answer easily. So -2 to -1, only one signal, no confusion. Directly you can plot this one. And the ramp signal slope, unity slope, that's why here x-axis, it is 1 change. So here amplitude 1. -1, -2. Here it is +1, +2. I'm plotting the graph like this. -2 to -1 slope. We are getting +1 amplitude here. At -1, one more signal is added. So this signal -1 to +1, this is having slope 1. And this second signal having slope -1. So this is +1 -1 cancels. That means there will be no increase in the amplitude, no decrease in the amplitude. So one rising slope signal added with one falling slope signal with equal slope magnitude values means it means it maintains constant in amplitude. So it is constant up to +1. After +1, third signal is added with -1 amplitude again. So this amplitude is +1, this amplitude -1, third signal amplitude -1. That means here +1 -1 cancels, but -1 remains. -1 amplitude means signal amplitude should be false with the slope -1. Since -1 slope here +1 slope we have observed, here -1 slope. That's why here 1 to 2 width 1. So amplitude also falls from 1 to 0. After that, 2 onwards, this is having slope 1, this is having slope -1, and third one -1, fourth one added with slope +1. So -1 +1 cancels, +1 -1 cancels, you get 0 amplitude here also. Like that, you will get a standard trapezoidal signal. So whenever ramp signals are added, you can follow the slopes addition without confusion. You'll get the answer very easily. So I have given one example for reference. You can try it out for different examples on the ramp signals. I think third assignment in terms of step function is very easy. Everybody can do that. Let us see some gate previous problems on the contents so far covered. Just I'll give few problems only for the time being. This is asked in GATE 2010. I'll go to the next page. The question is, given functions f of t and g of t as shown below. Given functions f of t and g of t as shown below. We'll plot the graphs for these two functions. These are two rectangular functions actually given. Like this f of t and g of t, it is given like this. Three to 5. This is the g of t signal. We ask you that g of t can be expressed as options are given like this. G of t is equal to f of 2t minus 3. Option B, G of t is equal to f of t by 2 minus 3. Option C, G of t is equal to f of 2t minus 3 by 2. Option D, G of t is equal to f of t by 2 minus 3 by 2. So these are the options given. G of t in terms of f of t he has asked. So this signal is, if you observe, G of t is right shifted when compared to f of t. So there is shifting operation, that is right shifting kind. Right shifting means minus t naught. Of course, he has given all options with minus n. Fine. Next, scaling. Here, if you observe, width of the rectangular pulse is 1. Here, width is 2. So expansion. In expansion, k value should be less than 1. So exactly 2 times. That means we can identify that k value 1 by 2. So t should be multiplied with 1 by 2 to get expanded signal. T multiplied by 1 by 2, how many options we have? B and D. So we can exclude options A and C first. Answer can be either B or D. So you have to verify which one is correct one. So I will plot both these signals. Let us verify them. G of t is equal to f of t by 2 minus 3. I will plot first. That is f of t minus 3 times. This is f of t minus 3, and then t divided by 2. That means here multiply with 2. I will get f of t by 2 minus 3 as 6 to 8. So this is not matched with f of t by 2 minus 3. So B also wrong. So obviously you should get a D. Here D is the right option. I'll plot it. F of t, here shifting constant 3 by 2, right shift. So signal, it is 3 by 2. 3 by 2 plus 1 is 5 by 2. This is what the signal f of t minus 3 by 2. Now we have to t divided with 2. That means here t, every instant multiply with 2. So 2 gets cancelled. So we'll get the scaling of shifted version from 3 to 5. This is what the G of t given. So D is the right option. So from precedence rule, we can solve this problem. Next, one more problem, write it. A GATE 2011 problem. I'll go to the next page. It is by using impulse signal properties he has given. That is, evaluate (1 by root 2 pi) integral minus infinity to plus infinity t square e to the power of minus t square by 2 del of 1 minus 2t dt. Evaluate this expression by using impulse signal properties, all of you, and then verify which is the right option. I'll give the options also here. Option A has given that 1 by 4 root 2 pi e to the power of minus 1 by 8. Option B has given 1 by 8 root 2 pi e to the power of minus 1 by 4. Option C has given 1 by 8 root 2 pi e to the power of minus 1 by 8. Option D has given that 1 by 4 root 2 pi e to the power of minus 1 by 4. So simplify this expression by using impulse signal properties. So here del of 1 minus 2t is there. First we have to modify this signal del of 1 minus 2t. So minus 2, we can take it common here. So this can be written as minus 2 into t minus 1 by 2. Verify is it the same expression given or not. Minus 2 if we multiply inside. 1 minus 2t will get it. So now this is scaling constant A. We can take it outside of the impulse function. So that 1 by mod A actually. So mod of minus 2 del of t minus 1 by 2 you can write it. So mod minus 2 is plus 2. So that here we are rewriting the expression 1 by root 2 pi integral minus infinity to plus infinity t square e to the power of minus t square by 2. This function we are writing as 1 by 2 del of t minus 1 by 2 dt. This is shifting property we can apply for this expression. Shifting property I'll rewrite here, minus into plus infinity, x of t, when it is multiplied with del of t minus t naught, you get the result x of t naught. Now t naught is here 1 by 2 and t square exponential function and 1 by 2. This is all this x of t. So this t naught 1 by 2 in the expression. So in x of t, t replaced with this 1 by 2. So we'll get the expression 1 by root 2 pi. This is all from shifting property. You can write it as t replacing with 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 whole square e to the power of minus 1 by 2 is there and t square is there. So 1 by 2 whole square and 1 by 2 is here already. So that it is here 1 by 4, here 1 by 2. So it is 1 by 8 root 2 pi and the exponential here 1 by 2 square is 1 by 4 multiplied by minus 1 by 2. So minus 1 by 8. So which option is correct means option C is the correct one. This is one of the better problem in the previous problems. And take 2001, one simple problem given based on the impulse properties. We give you we ask for that minus infinity to plus infinity del of t if it is multiplied with cos 3t by 2. What is the answer? I hope all of you get it. Shifting property. This is x of t. So x of 0 because here del of t means t naught value 0. So x of 0 means cos of 0. That is 1. So option A is the correct one. Simple question. And we get more questions from classification of signals actually. So see, more number of questions they are asking on the classification of signals. So better we discuss classification of signals now. Before classification of signals, just to give a brief introduction about discrete time signals also. Suppose we discuss more on discrete time signals in jet transforms and DSP concepts, but a little bit introduction needed here. So I'll give discrete time signals, just a brief introduction, and then we can discuss the classification of signals. More number of gate questions on classification of signals. Always they will ask the question on the classifications. Fine. Anyhow, here let's just have a look at discrete time signals. Of course, I have not introduced continuous time signals for you the previous session. I know. So just a signal, if it's having continuously amplitude, that is continuous time signal. If the signal having only amplitude at a discrete instance of time, then that is discrete time signal. So the amplitude of the signal is defined for all time t in continuous time signals, whereas it is defined only at a discrete instance of time for discrete time signals. This continuous time signals is also called as analog signal. Discrete time signal, after performing some process, we will get a digital signal, of course. Anyway, here discrete time signals for us, we obtain by sampling analog signals. The only way to get a discrete time signal is by performing sampling on continuous time signals. This sampling operation, of course, we'll discuss in future. So for the time being, you just take the discrete time signal as it is a signal which is defined at discrete instance of time, and it defined only at a integer values of time, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So we will represent this signal as x of n here. Here x of t we use. Here the time index n. Discrete time signals we use time index n, and we call it as discrete time sequence also. Discrete time signal or discrete time sequence. Generally, continuous time signals we use signal or function, whereas in discrete time we use generally discrete time signal or discrete time sequence. Of course, you can value it as discrete time function also, it doesn't make any difference. Anyway, here discrete time signals can be represented in different ways like this. Let us consider one example. X of n is given like this. So it is represented in sequential form. So this is the sequential form of discrete time signal. How it is represented means in this x of n is represented in the form of a sequence of elements like this, and it needs an arrow mark to represent where the origin is. For this signal, this represents the origin. Arrow mark where it is there, it indicates n value 0. In sequential form, that is mandatory to represent arrow mark. Same signal can be represented in functional form. So x of n, we'll write in functional form like this. It is 1 when n value minus 1. It is 2 when n value 0. It is 1 for n value plus 1. And it is 0 elsewhere. Like this as a function to represent the signal x of n. In the third form, it is tabular form. As a table, will represent the signal here. N value, x of n value, will take in the separate rows. Here n value minus 1, 0, plus 1, it is having values. Remaining all 0 values. That's why it is minus 1, it is having amplitude 1. At n value 0, it is having amplitude 2. And at n value plus 1, it is also plus 1. So tabular form will represent like this. And fourth one, graphical representation. Graphical representation in terms of a graph, we will plot by taking time index n, and on y-axis the signal x of n is 1 to 1. So at minus 1, its amplitude is 1. At 0, its amplitude is 2. Again at 1, its amplitude is 1. This is the graph to represent the same signal. So sequential form, functional form, tabular, and graphical form. These are the 4 forms to represent the discrete time signals for us. So most probably we'll use sequential form and repeatedly graphical form. And we can say that if the signal is infinite duration, like unit step function, signum function, this functional form is suitable. If the signal is finite duration, this sequential form is suitable. Fine. And basic elementary signal also we can represent in discrete form. Just 1 or 2 signals I will introduce here. For example, unit impulse signal, it is represented with del of n here. And equation del of n is equal to 1 if n value 0. It is 0 if n not equal to 0. Graph will be simply only one sample at origin with amplitude 1. You can also take it as unit sample sequence, signal or sequence. And del of n can also be represented in terms of u of n here. First I will introduce u of n, unit step sequence. Here u of n, definition same, u of n value is 1 right hand side and 0 left hand side. Plot will be same. The discrete version of the corresponding analog signal. Here n I will take u of n starting from origin 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on with amplitude 1. This is u of n. You can write del of n as u of n minus u of n minus 1 here. Whereas u of n we can write in terms of impulse function as this is del of n. So this is del of n minus 1. This is del of n minus 3. Is n minus 2 and so on. So sum of all these samples means del of n minus k. We add all the samples k value starting from 0 to infinity. You will get corresponding u of n. Observe one thing here. I have given singularity functions in the first class. Del of t after integration, u of t will get. Here, u of t is integral of del of t in continuous. The counterpart in discrete. This is integration continuous summation. This is sigma discrete summation. So we'll have similar kind of relation between step function and impulse function. And here del of t, observe, we don't have such provision to represent like u of t minus u of t minus. This is wrong. Continuous, this does not exist. Small difference in discrete and continuous time signals. By seeing the graphs itself, we can understand this kind of issues, not a problem for us. Like that, discrete signals, just a sampled version of continuous signals we can take. Like if I take signum function, signum of n I will write, it is plus 1, right hand side, minus 1, left hand side. Counterpart of continuous function. Graph, discrete version of continuous signal. Similarly, you can take sin omega n, cos omega n. All signals, just continuous time signals, take sampled version of those signals, you'll get discrete version, not a problem. In future, while I'm discussing some discrete signals, if any confusion point is there, definitely I will explain separately. Now let us see the classification of signals, which is most important for us in the first unit. Let us see classification of signals. The classification of signals we have periodic and non-periodic signals. and even and odd signals, and causal and non-causal signals, and energy and power signals. We have to discuss clearly in detail about these four kind of signals. Classifications are very important, especially first one, last one, we are getting frequently questions. Since those are a little bit difficult, we'll get more questions from these two classifications. I will explain with all possible examples here for each classification. First classification, let us see periodic and non-periodic signals. First, note on the definition of the periodic signal. A signal which satisfies the following condition is called a periodic signal or periodic function. This is for continuous time signal. This is for discrete time signal. Here, n is any integer value. Here, k is any integer value. Capital T is fundamental time period of the signal. Similarly, in discrete time, capital N is the fundamental time period of the signal. So the basic nature of these periodic signals is one cycle repeats throughout the time axis. A particular cycle of the waveform will repeat throughout the time axis in the waveform of periodic signals. Examples of periodic signals: x of t is sin omega t, cos omega t, and e to the power of plus or minus j omega t is also complex signal, also considered as periodic signals, because in all these signals omega is angular frequency given by 2 pi by t, where t is the fundamental time period of the signal. So these are periodic signals we have in our basic elementary signals. Remaining all signals, non-periodic signals. These are all periodic signals. Here, finding the time period of a given signal is very important task for us. So let us see some example problems for time period calculation. First signal, if x of t is equal to 20 sin 100 pi t, find the time period of this signal. Similarly, if x of t is 10 cos 50 pi t plus pi by 3, find the time period of this signal. In the same way, e to the power of minus j 100 pi Let us take 300 by t, already 100 by t given. So in all these examples, we have to find first omega value. From omega, we know omega is equal to 2 pi by t. At this time period, we can calculate by taking 2 pi by omega formula. So first one, omega is, by comparing with the standard form of the sinusoidal signal, sin omega t, here omega, we have 100 by, that means time period 2 pi by 100 pi, it is 1 by 50. Similarly, second one, omega value, here omega value 50 pi, that means time period 2 pi by 50 pi, will get 1 by 25. The phase shift pi by 3 cannot affect the time period of the signal. So phase shift does not disturb the time period of the signal. We can neglect while calculating time period only. Phase having its own importance in different topics, but here in time period calculation, phase we can neglect. Third one, omega value here, j omega t, so that 300 pi, not a problem. Time period is equal to 2 pi by 300 pi is 1 by 150. Like that, you can calculate time period of fundamental signals again like this. But while calculating the time period of a discrete time signal, you have to see one point here. I'm going to the next page. Discrete time period calculation, you see, if x of m is given as sin 150 pi n, let us find the time period. So for discrete time signals, to find the time period of the signal, observe here, the formula is 2 pi by omega multiplied with small m. Here, small m is the smallest possible integer which makes capital N an integer. Means if no integer value of m makes capital N an integer, then given signal x of n is non-periodic. Observe the time period expression in discrete time signal. Here continuous time 2 pi by omega. Here in discrete 2 pi by omega multiplied with a small m. What is small m means? Smallest possible integer which makes capital N an integer. For example, here omega value is 150 pi, the given problem. So capital N, let us see, 2 pi by omega value 150 pi multiplied by small m. So here pi gets cancelled. 2 cancels by 125 times. So here, if m value take 125, then capital N value 1 by 125 multiplied by 125, it is 1. It is an integer. So here the time period of this given signal is 1. For small n value 125. Here 125 as an integer, not a problem. In case if you have here pi remaining or square root 2 like this, then for no integer value of small m, Kaplan is an integer. Such kind of signals are non-periodic signals. So like that discrete time signal time period, we can calculate with that formula. A non-periodic signal example, I will give you sine 10 pi square n. You can take it as sine x of n if it is given as sine 10 pi square n, or x of n if it is cos root 3 pi by 2 n. In the time period, if you want to calculate, first one, n is equal to 2 pi by omega value 10 pi square multiplied by small m. So here pi once cancelled. So pi remains. No integer value of m can make Kaplan an integer. So this is a non-periodic signal. Similarly, root 3 pi by 2 here. For this signal, to calculate time period, we can say 2 pi by root 3 pi by 2 into small m. Here pi gets cancelled. Opposite is 4 by root 3 small m. Here root 3 is there, so no integer value of m can make Kaplan an integer. So this is a non-periodic signal. Like that, as an example, you can take these two. The procedure to calculate the time period is like that. The most important for is, if more than one signal is given and all signals are periodic signals, then the sum of all periodic signals, what is the time period, or whether the signal is periodic or not. We have to find that exercise. That is very important for us. Let us see that one. Let us see. Most important in periodic classification is multiple signals added. If x of m is given as x1 of n plus x2 of n plus x3 of n plus and so on, n number of signals can be added. Or if x of t is x1 of t plus x2 of t plus x3 of t and so on. In this kind of signals, whether the given signal x of n or x of t is periodic or not. First we have to find. If periodic, what is time period? That is what the most important topic for us. Here I'll give the procedure how to find this. You have to observe the procedure first. The procedure to find this answer is first, let us take first step. You calculate the time periods of all individual signals T1, T2, T3, and so on. Determine all the values first. The second step, find ratios T1 by T2, ratio 1, T1 by T3, ratio 2, if more signals like this one. If you observe all the ratios, numerator is same. Similarly for discrete. Third one, if all ratios are ratio of two integers, means no pi or square root, cube root like that. Only integers, ratio of two integers is called rational. If all ratios are rational numbers, then we can confirm that given signal x of t or x of n is periodic. Once it is confirmed as periodic, we have to find the time period of that given signal. To find that, first find LCM. It is LCM of denominators of all ratios. Only denominators. LCM, find LCM of denominators of all ratios. You'll find the LCM. Then multiply this LCM with the first numerator value, that is T1, to get the time period. T is equal to nothing but this LCM multiplied by T1. Or if it is discrete, N is equal to this LCM multiplied by first time period. This is the procedure we have to follow to find the time period of multiple periodic signals which are added like this. One thing, if any one of these signal is not a periodic signal, obviously the signal x of n is non-periodic. Here all are periodic signals, provided all periodic signals added. These are all individually periodics. Please all of you note down this procedure and let us follow this procedure to solve the problems. I'll give one problem now. Let us see the problem here. Given that x of t is sin 100 pi t plus sin 300 pi t plus sin 500 pi t. Find whether x of t is periodic or not. If periodic, what is the time period of that signal x of t? Let us see one by one the steps. First time period t1 here, 2 pi by omega, that is 2 pi by 100 pi equal to 1 by 50. The similar way T2 is 1 by 150. T3 is 1 by 250. Now ratio, second step is ratios. Ratio is T1 by T2, 1 by 150. 1 by 50 divided by 1 by 150 is 3. And second ratio, T1 by T2, it is 5. 3 and 5. So both have denominators 1 we can consider. So that first of all, these two are ratio of two integers is rational numbers. We calculate all individual time periods. We find the ratios. The third step, we confirm that ratios are rational. Then in the fourth step, we confirm that these are periodic signal. Then LCM, both denominators are ones. So LCM of 1 is 1. So since LCM is equal to 1, the time period is equal to LCM into first time period, that is 1 by 50. So that the time period of the given signal x of t is 1 by 50 seconds. Like that, we can calculate the time period of given signal by using our procedure. Very important procedure for us. Repeatedly asking gate previous questions. On this kind of questions are repeatedly asked in gate previous papers. I'll show you in the next class. I think the time is almost it's 9. Fine. In the next class, I will continue from this. I'll give you some more problems to find the time period of multiple periodic signals added. And then I will show you the gate previous problems which are asked on this topic. Topic wise, I will give you the gate previous problems in the next class on this. Fine. I think for the timing, I'll give the assignment questions to the sir, Ashwin sir. He'll forward to all of you. I'll stop the class here.
Yes, sir.
I'm thanking all of you, ma. Good night to all of you.